Mid of May and June, about 6 weeks. Well, that's the only time you can travel in Europe. It's warm. Well, this is impossible because our rains retreat. Normally starts in July. So what am I going to do with you? When I was in a small monastery in Chiang Mai, we had quite a few dogs there. There were hardly any monks, maybe 2 or 3 monks, but 4 or 5 dogs. So we had to take care of them. Taking care of them means once in a while or once a week to pick the flea and lice and to wash them, to really scrub them. Once we scrubbed them, soaped them, washed them, yes, they get rid of the water and happily run into the forest and bath themselves in cow shit and rat piss. And when they come, they look at us with eyes full of sattva, full of faith. Am I not smelling nice? So, people come here, stay here for a month, then go away. Within this month, we try to clean them as much as possible, and then they go out in the world and get full of the shit that is there, and then they come back and smile and look at one with such faithful eyes. Oh, it was nice, wasn't it? Am I not smelling nice? And for us, it's stinky.
So don't worry.
Well, I haven't done it for 17 years. But you see, we run out, we get clean and we run out and we so much love our usual smell. We so much love our usual things that we encounter, things that we are used to do, things that we want to do, and we think it's nice, and we think it smells good. But in terms of a wise person, when it looks, it stinks. It's just rotten shit. Tanacha Mahabodha says it very clearly. The people in the world adore themselves with pieces of dried up cow and dog shit. And they think it's gold. But for a wise person, the true gold is Nibbana. This is the only thing that shines throughout the whole universe, through the threefold universe. And that's the only thing that shines. So when we come here, we clean ourselves, or we try ourselves to clean ourselves, and it's not easy. It's a lot of work, and then we go out in the world and bath ourselves in the shit of kilesas. We don't see it, we don't notice it. When we come back, we just have this stenching smell around The kilesas are tricky once we go the path of practice, because the kilesas, it's that what we call us. So we cannot see us is the one who gets us in trouble. I is the one who is getting us in trouble. That what belongs to me, that what I want, that what I don't want, that what I can do, that what I can't do, this is the one thing that gets us in trouble. When we reflect carefully about the three principles of this universe, that is anicca, anatta, dukkha. Anicca is impermanence. Something arises, changes, and goes away. Something arises, changes, goes away. Another thing arises, changes, goes away. Everything that is in this universe is changing. But we don't want to see it. We don't want to realize it. We see it in terms of respect, in a way that says, yeah, that's it. But I. But who is the I that changes constantly? The I of today is not the I of yesterday. What we thought of 3 or 4 years ago is different what we thought today. What we know today is different what we knew 4 or 5 years ago. What we feel today is different what we felt 20 years ago. So what is this I? I feel, I am, I'm sick, I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm discontented, I'm unhappy. What am I of this thing? Is there something that I can pick out of all these things, that I call my I, that has been constant since my birth? My body certainly is not constant. The form of a baby differs very much from the form of an adult. And the form of an adult differs very much from the form of a person that is close to death. A form of the sick person differs from the form of a healthy person. So is this body mine? It's changing constantly. Constantly is changing. Feeling, Vedana, constantly changing. Today I'm satisfied, in 5 minutes later I feel pain, then I feel happy, then I feel discontent, then I feel restless, then I feel this, then I feel that, then I feel that. What can we call that I? Memory. Here it comes, it changes, and it goes. Another memory comes, it changes, and it goes. Is this memory we, or is that memory we, or is this or that memory we? Is that ourself? Ask yourself. Reflect on that carefully. This thought or that thought? Today this thought comes, is that us? Or that thought, is that us? Which thought is us? Reflect upon that carefully. And vijnana, or consciousness, just knowing that there is something at one of the sense doors, changes all the time. Every second it changes. Another vijnana, another consciousness. Blip, 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 blip. Comes, goes, comes, goes, comes, goes. So what in the 5 khandhas is not changing? What in the 5 khandhas can we call ourselves? Reflect upon it. And reflect upon it in a wholesome way, that when you think you have to do something, that this is going to change as well. this we have to do, or this we want to do, and that we don't want to do. This is changing. It's changing all the time. The Lord Buddha said, what is changing is not me, is not mine, it does not belong to us. And because we are attached to the things that we like, that we want, and attached to the things that we do not like and do not want, that is where the restlessness, that is where dukkha comes in. We don't want these things to happen, they happen anyway. But we don't want to see them, so we don't look at them. We blank our mind, as if they just has not happened. When there is something nice, we focus our mind on it and want it to stay on forever. But it has just arisen, it will change, it goes to its peak, and then it will lower and disappear. Everything. Everything. Or can you name anything that has not changed? Can you name anything that you really would call from the time of your birth up till now as something that has not changed, as something as the real self? The Lord Buddha gave us the example of a card. If we disassemble the card, where is the card? If we put it into blanks, axes, nuts and bolts, where is the card? It's nowhere. Once we put ourselves in, disassemble ourselves, what we call, that is me, that is mine, or I, into the 5 khandhas, where is the I? Where is it? Is it the Vedana? Is it Sanya? Is it Sankhara? Is it Vijnana? Or is it Rupa? When we think it's the body, then disassemble the body into its bits and pieces. Now what part of the body is that what I call self? What part of the body has not changed? If you see a heap of limbs in front of you and look at it and say, this is my body, but this kind of body you could not use. It's just limbs. And torso and organs. It's just a heap of flesh, of bones and of skin. Is that what you call a body? Or is it only the way we use to assemble the limbs, the flesh and the bones that we could call it a body? You look in the mirror and you think, oh, that's me. And you might think, oh, I have grown old. Or my hair have become white. We do not reflect about anicca and anatta and dukkha carefully when we plan our future. When we plan our future and reflect about the things that we want to do, for what purpose? It's for the purpose of having a feeling, it's for the purpose of having a thought, it's for the purpose of having a memory, it's for the purpose of using the body, or just for the purpose of getting sensations. That's it. That is it when it boils down to. When we let it boil down to the essential things. The essential things are anicca, anatta, dukkha, and are the 5 khandhas. Once we boiled it down into the 5 khandhas, we cannot even boil down even more to the 4 principal elements. Everything in this universe, including feeling, including memory, including thoughts, and including vijnana, is made out of 4 elements. That's the fire element, that's the water element, that's the earth element, and that's the air element. So if body itself is still 2 coarse, then let's dissect it, let's disassemble it into the 4 elements. And where's the difference then between the body and the feeling when we have just the 4 elements? It's a difference of combination. That's all. A feeling consists of the 4 elements, the same as the body consists of the 4 elements. Now think about your life and everything what you want. You do not reflect about that is going to change, that it becomes otherwise. We just think we are here forever. We will live forever. But what is going to live in this universe forever? The body? Certainly not. Feeling? Certainly not. Memory? Certainly not. Thought? Certainly not. Vijnana? Certainly not. So, when we think about the purpose of our life, we just put out all our effort. We just put in all our effort to pursue the things that arise and cease. Arise and cease. Arise and cease. That's where we really put in, or that's where the world really puts in all its effort. It never asks, or it never looks that the things are impermanent. It assumes they are permanent, or it wants it to see it this way. And that's why it pursues it. And that's why we have to do it over and over and over again to get a feeling for constancy. When we look at the 5 khandhas, when we look at ourselves, or when we look at our I, and when we are really mindful, we see how the mind produces it all day long. It says, I can, I want, I feel, I this, I that, I that. Once we stop this kind of thinking, once we stop this kinds of assertions, then where is the I? There will be no I. If we keep our mind clean of these assumptions, of these assertions, of these beliefs, then there will be only Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. Nothing else. And for that we give our whole life. For that we put in all our energy. Just for the things that arises and ceases. Arises and ceases. So when you go out, or when you plan your future, you don't say you do not plan the future of another person. You assume you plan your own future. I want to do this with life, or I want to do that with life, or this, or this, or that. then reflect upon the thing that there is nothing in this whole universe that is worth putting one's effort into, that is change. It is like we run after all these soap bubbles that are so beautiful, hanging up in the sky, and each soap bubble is different from the other. The moment we grasp it, it will disappear. Then we grasp the next one, and it will disappear. And we run there forever. And run after the next soap bubble, after the next soap bubble. Be it a soap bubble a feeling, or be it a memory, or be it a thought, or be it an idea, or be it a concept, or be it a view. We run and run and run and run. Once we got it, it just bursts in our head. And then we have to run for the next. And we have to run for the next and next and next. And never, never, ever reflect upon it. What are we doing? When you see a child doing that, you might smile. You see how futile it is. You see how worthless it is. But when we look at ourselves, we never see it this way. Because we don't want to see the principles of anicca, anatta, dukkha. We try to hide them. We try to hide them from our views and think, yes, this changeability, that is good. I'm just changing, I accept this, I'm changing, I accept that I'm born, I accept that I grow up, I accept that I will be as an adult for a while, and I accept that I'm growing older and die. And I accept that I have lots of dukkha, and I accept that I have to put in a lot of effort to maintain this body. 95% of our work, we maintain this body. In the world, there's no other reason for maintaining this body. Some people who put a lot of effort in it, they maintain it very comfortable. Some people who put less effort in it, they maintain it on another, different level. So I want you to reflect upon this very carefully. Reflect upon going out and bathing in the filth of the kilesas. We bath only because we are used to bathing, and we never reflect. So what is there? Ask yourself it very clearly. What is there? What do you want to do with this life? Do you want to get that sensation, or this feeling, or this, or that, or that? In the end, you have to give it all up. You run after the soap bubbles, and the moment you got it, it bursts. And you run after the next that is similar, and bursts. And it bursts. You catch it, it bursts. You catch it, it bursts. You catch it, it bursts. Is that what you think is your purpose of life? How futile. It just for a person. And even if you can reflect upon, if you think about it, you maybe can see that what you want is useless. You will have to do it over and over again. And you will never catch it. Because before the moment you catch it, it bursts. That's the problem. So when we go the path of practice, we have to analyze. it really very carefully. We have to always to take the aspects of anicca, anatta, dukkha into account. Either one of them is so. You can either reflect about anicca, the impermanence, or you can reflect about that is not me, that doesn't belong to me, that is not myself. Whatever has arisen does not belong to me, that is not myself. If the thought I die arises, that doesn't belong to me, that is not myself. Or you can use the concept of dukkha, that this brings suffering, or that brings suffering, or this brings dukkha, and this brings dukkha, and if I attach to this, this brings dukkha. So just let the things arise and cease on their own nature. They arise anyway. We cannot hinder them to arise. If we don't want them, we cannot hinder them to arise. If we want them, we cannot make them arise. That's the law of the nature. Things arise and cease. Things arise and cease. Due to their own nature. Feeling arises, memory arises, a thought arises, vijnana arises, the body arises, and they all cease. They arise within their own nature. Now when you look at this, when you look at your life and now reflect upon a little child or a newborn baby whose mother has given him a toy with 5 balls. They hang from a string and they're close to each other. The newborn touches one of them and brings it into motion. This motion, when it goes up or down, or when it goes forth and back, will have an effect on the other balls. So the first ball or the middle ball, that will affect other balls, so that get into the motion. So if the newborn just gives one of these balls a little kick, then after a while they will all rest. This is the law of our 5 khandhas. The 5 khandhas are the 5 balls. We put one into a motion and it will affect the others. And that's it. If you don't do anything, then the just 5 khandhas are very quiet, very still. And then we put another, then we have a thought, and with the thought comes a feeling, with the feeling comes a memory, with the memory comes a thought, and we continue to play that game. And this kind of game that we play with the 5 balls is called the game of self. That's all what we do. Once we stop it, we see the things coming to rest. We see the 5 khandhas coming to rest. We see the 5 balls coming to rest, coming to a still stand. When we go into the state of deep samadhi, that's where the 5 khandhas will rest. They will not disappear, but they will rest. And that's the first time where we can see it. How is this when all this motion rests? When there's just nothing else. When there's just nothing else than supreme peace or supreme happiness or supreme contentment, however you would describe it. That's the first time where these things rest. A deeper state of this is where the five khandhas completely disappear. They disappear from our sight. And then, for the first time, we will know that we are not the five khandhas. We, when I use this example of the newborn child, we are the little child that puts into the motion the five khandhas. So, reflect upon this carefully. The path of practice is the path of sati panya, of mindfulness and wisdom. Wisdom is investigation. Wisdom is dissecting. Wisdom is analyzing. Wisdom is the development of putting things into its right place. If we are not careful in this process, in this analytic process, then we get fooled. We get fooled by the mixture of the five khandhas. That gives rise to the thought of I, that gives rise to the thought of mine, that gives rise to the thought of dukkha, or to the feeling of dukkha. If we analyze it correctly, if we put it into its correct categories or containers, then rupa is just rupa. Feeling is feeling, memory is memory and association, thought is thought, and consciousness is consciousness. All of them arise and cease. That is seeing things in line with the true nature. So what is the plan? What is the meaning of going here and going there? What is the meaning of this, what we want, in terms of the five khandhas? That's how we have to analyze it correctly. What is it? Is it a memory or is it a feeling? What do we want? Do we want another feeling? Do we want another memory? Do we want to have another thought? Or do we want to have another idea? So bring the complexity of the world down, boil it down to its essential nature. Or boil it, if you can, boil it even down to the four dhammas, to the four elements. So what is then my plan of travel, or going out, or doing this, or doing that, in terms of the four elements? It's the water element, fire element, earth element, and air element. When I eat this or that, something that is delicious or something that is not delicious, it still consists of the four elements. The water element, fire element, earth element, air element. That's food. Our body is made of these elements. The food that nourishes this body is made of the same elements. Get it down to understand. See the things that you want or that you don't want, that you loathe and that you love in these terms. Boil it down. What does it mean in the terms of the five khandhas? What does it mean in terms of anicca, anatta, dukkha? Or ask yourself, do I know that this is going to change? What I want is going to change? That what I want is going to change? That what I don't want is still going to happen? Do you reflect it in this way? Or just do you see, oh, this is what I have to believe, this is what I want to see, this is what I want to do. And we don't give it a second thought. And because we don't give it a second thought, and we don't give it a third thought, and a fourth thought, and analyze it completely, that's why we are in the mess that we are in right now. So the path of practice is the path of developing wisdom. And this is one way to develop wisdom. To break the complexity of the world, of this whole universe, down in its basic, elementary function. And this is anicca, anatta, dukkha. This is rupa, vedana, sanya, sankhara, and vijnana. And that's it. There is nothing else. Whatever else we imagine is there, that is just an imagination. It's an illusion. And if we believe in this illusion, then it will stay on. It's like a person who always looks in the sky and looks at these nice clouds and never looks at the way it goes. And it falls here and falls there, it breaks this leg or this arm, and it constantly is in trouble, and it says it's another power that brings me into this trouble. But it never occurs to him that he does not observe himself, but he observes just his illusions, just the sky. He always looks up and never looks down. He always looks up in the complexity of the world, never looks at the basic recipe, the basic principles that the whole world is cooked on. So be very, very carefully, analyze whatever comes in the terms of the fundamental elements, or the five khandhas, or anicca, anatta, dukkha. And this will help you to lose your attachment. When you're looking for your next birth, and you think the next birth will be better than my birth right now, or my being right now, then look at the things that you have to go through. First, you have to learn how to digest. Then you have to learn how to walk. How much dukkha was there when we learned to walk? It takes a year. Then we had to learn how to use our speech. Then we have to learn or be trained how to think. And then we learn how to behave. And then we earned our living by doing this and by doing that in order to maintain something that cannot be maintained. Something that has to die. So all of our work, all of our effort has been in vain. When we reflect upon things carefully, when we dissect it, when we analyze it, when we bring it down to what it really means, then we can develop something. We can develop our inner riches. We can develop a power that is so great that shines through the whole universe. We can clean our citta of the filth of the kilesas that makes us believe this world is like we want the world we see. But cleaning it means getting it down to what it really means. So when we see a card, we disassemble it and put it into its bits and pieces. And that's the same thing that we do with us. We put it back into its proper place, into its proper bits and pieces. And is that what we want? Is it really that what we want? Remember the newborn child that plays with the 5 khandhas. It puts into motion one of the khandhas, and other khandhas will follow by the nature of the law. And if it doesn't attach to one of the things, it will just cease. It will stop, and then the moment it puts another ball or another khandha into motion, then this will have an effect on all of the khandhas, or on most of the khandhas. And that's all what there is to it. So get the path of investigation, get the path of investigating your body, close the past, close the future. The past has gone. The future has not arisen. If we believe to think that the future will be better than the present, and the present is not good, how will be the future better? If we don't do anything, we just imagine that the future, if we do this or that the future will get better. The future will only get better if we get rid of our illusions, if we get rid of our fog in the forest. Because what we do is we see all the trees. We see this tree is different from that tree, and that tree is different from that tree, so we run from one tree to the other, and because of all the trees, we do not see the forest. Because of the fog, or because of our illusion, we have to break this illusion down. Don't believe, just break it down into its elements, or break it down in the 5 khandhas, or apply one of the 3 principles of this universe, anicca, anatta, dukkha. Reflect carefully about what you want to do with your life. Reflect about, does it make any sense? Does it bring any change? Does it lead to something wholesome? Or does it lead to more restlessness, to more dukkha? Reflect about this carefully. And with this I end. So don't be like the dogs, who are scrubbed clean and then the next thought is just to look for the usual smell they have. Bath themselves, when one sees it, one scrubs it, for an hour, and one sees it running off in the forest and bathing themselves in cow shit and rat piss, and then they come back, and look at one, so with such a proud eyes and faithful eyes, am I not smelling nice? So don't do that. We do the same thing. We clean, and you know how difficult it is to clean ourselves. We know how difficult it is to get off these tenacious kilesas, to give them a hold. And then we go back and just do the things, to foster them, to indulge. We do say we indulge into these things, don't we? Indulge in all the sense pleasures. What are the sense pleasures in terms of the 5 khandhas? What are the 5 sense pleasures in terms of anicca, anatta, dukkha? The soap bubbles, we catch them and they burst. Catch the next one and burst. How futile. But we don't do anything against it. We keep on planning our future. So, what is our future? We're planning it. And if it's not for tomorrow, it's planning it for what are we going to do in 5 minutes? This is also future. Or what am I going to do after my sitting? Maybe I take a rest. This is also future. When I sit, I sit. When I walk, I walk. Oh, I have done enough. This is past. There's just one thing. There's just one moment that is reality. And that is the moment of presence. Just this one moment. So if we are able to cut out the past and cut out the future and cut out all these asavas, wherever our mind flows out into the world, flows out into the senses, flows out. And cut them out. And we are mindful of the process that is going on. Seeing the 5 khandhas in motion. Seeing how we initiate one of the khandhas. Understanding the process. That if we set this khandha in motion, this will happen, that will happen, that will happen. And then we set it in motion again. Why? Because we love the sensation. We just love this thought. Oh, this is such a beautiful thought, and we have to think it about 2 hours. All around this one thought.
Which one comes down to sensations in the...
Well, it comes down to the 5 khandhas. And it comes down to the... Yes. Well, are the sensations your sensations, or are they just soap bubbles? You're running after and running after and running after. And when will you stop? Now? Okay, good. Great. So, next time you tell me about how you stop.